How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, May 23rd, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, now that the entire German Bundesliga soccer season is done, I'm just going to give a really quick season summary just to explain what the table is looking like, what that means, and of course, how it ended up for at least the top players in the Bundesliga moving forward. So, if you're not familiar, the Bundesliga is comprised of 18 teams that are, of course, competing for competition in some of the world. First of all, to either compete in the league, and if you compete well enough in the Bundesliga, you qualify for other tournaments that you're gonna be that the teams are gonna be playing with alongside their seasons this upcoming year. So if that makes sense. The way it works is, since there's 18 teams, every team plays every other team twice. So if, say, Bayern has to play all the other teams twice, that's 17 times 2, that's 34 games they have to play. And, of course, they break it up. So they make sure that every team plays one home and one away game. Because every single schedule is evenly matched up, whoever has the best record at the end wins the season. And the way they measure it is, if you win the game, you have 3 points that's added to your total win share. If you draw a game, as in both teams tie, you have 1 point added to your point total. And then if you lose, you basically get no points. And it's whoever has the most points at the end of the season, of course, wins. Whoever has less points gets second place. Regardless, that's the reason why these soccer leagues, these domestic leagues, don't have playoffs per se to determine a champion, but they do have domestic cups, or they do have single game elimination, and a lot of time, or that's how it works alongside that. But if we're looking specifically at the Bundesliga, how it all fanned out. At the very bottom, you have Schalke and Werder Bremen are going to get relegated, which means they're going to drop to the second division of German soccer. And then the best two teams in the second division are going to move up to the Bundesliga next season. The 16th seed was Köln, and Köln will have to play in a playoff game between the third best team in the second division. Whoever wins that game will continue to compete in the Bundesliga. Sitting right ahead of them, 15th place, Arminia Bielefeld, 14th place, Hertha Berlin, 13th place, Augsburg, 12th place, Mainz, 11th place, Hoffenheim, 10th place, Freiburg, 9th place, Stuttgart, and 8th place, Mönchengladbach, and 7th place, Union Berlin. Since they all placed in 7th through 15th this season of Bundesliga, that doesn't really mean anything. That means that they will automatically be eligible to compete in the next Bundesliga season, but it means that none of them will qualify for any other competition outside of the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal, which is the German Cup. And then, moving up in the 5th and 6th seeds, Eintracht Frankfurt and Bayer Leverkusen, with those, because they fell out of contention for Champions League spots, but they are automatically placed in the Europa League tournament, which is like the Champions League tournament, but it's comprised of the teams that didn't exactly qualify for Champions League, but still they are automatically placed in that bracket. And sitting right above them, the top 4 teams in the Bundesliga will compete in the Champions League, because Germany is a country that lets their best 4 teams in, because the Bundesliga is considered one of the best leagues in the world. And right now, that 4th spot belongs to Wolfsburg after beating Frankfurt by 1 point. So that's how Wolfsburg was able to sneak in here. The 3rd place spot in the Bundesliga belonged to Borussia Dortmund, who had a very tough start to the season, saw themselves fall to about 6th, 7th position, but they were able to fight their way back in, and now they are comfortably back in, so they will compete for the Champions League next season. And since they won the Pokal, they'll play against Bayern in the German Super Cup right before the next season starts. The 2nd place seed went to RB Leipzig, who had an incredible season under their head coach Julian Nagelsmann, who will now be Bayern Munich's head coach coming up. Leipzig, and they also ended up making it to the DFB Pokal final, but they lost to Dortmund, so they ended up the runner-up in the Bundesliga and in the Pokal. But they had an incredibly great season. They will, of course, be competing in Champions League without their best center back, Deo Upamecano, who's going to Bayern, and they are going to compete without their coach, Julian Nagelsmann, that's going to Bayern. But RB Leipzig is looking like a very young and formidable franchise moving forward. And of course, the number one team in the Bundesliga and the title went to the reigning, of course, goes to the reigning team, Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich has officially won the last 9, I believe, Bundesliga titles. They finished it off yesterday. They won the race by about 13 points. They're of course led by the best player in the world, Robert Lewandowski, the best goalie in the world, who was most recently named for 2020, Manuel Neuer. Not to mention a lot of other amazing, just great players along the way that have helped them. Their elite center fielder, their elite center mid, Joshua Kimmich, their elite defender, David Alaba, who's actually leaving this season, their elite left back, Alphonso Davies, not to mention Pavard, their elite center attacking mid, Thomas Muller, their elite wings, Serge Gnabry and Leroy Sané, not to mention, like I already said, Lewandowski. I can say him again. But beginning to end, Bayern definitely had the best season moving forward. It makes sense that, of course, they finished with their 9th straight Bundesliga title, their 30th total. And I mean, a lot has been going on for them. So, of course, all the credit to them, as they were the best team in Germany this year. And looking out to how the Bundesliga season finished, at least stats-wise, there were 5 players that finished with at least 20 goals on the season. Tied in 4th, you had Andres Kramaric from Hoffenheim with Wout Weghorst from Wolfsburg. They both finished with 20 goals on the season. Third in the league in scoring was Erling Braut Haaland, the elite Norwegian striker for Borussia Dortmund. He had 27 goals on the season. Right ahead of him was Andre Silva for Eintracht Frankfurt. He finished with 28. And the league leader in goals and the new record holder for Bundesliga goals in a season belongs to Robert Lewandowski, Bayern Munich's elite Polish striker. He finished with 41 goals on the season. He broke a 50-year record held by Gerd Müller, a German-born Bayern player who played in the 70s. Muller's record was 40, and Lewandowski broke it at 41. Looking at who led the league in assists, the assist title went to Thomas Muller. He finished with 18 of them on the season after breaking the Bundesliga record with 21 last year. Second in the league was Philipp Kostic from Eintracht Frankfurt. Third was Daichi Kamada from Eintracht Frankfurt. He had 12, so you had 2 players from Eintracht Frankfurt in the top 3 of assists. Fourth, and then tied for 4th, was Jonas Hoffmann of Borussia Mönchengladbach and Jadon Sancho, Borussia Dortmund's elite forward out of England. But right now, those were the goal leaders, just to really check in and look at how the players do. But right now, that is how the Bundesliga is going to look at the conclusion of the 2021 season. Great season beginning to end, and after Euros are finished, they're getting ready to get started back into this 2021-22. But also, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 8 minutes of this piece. I hope all is well, and once all of today's matchups are finished, I will come back tomorrow, Monday, May 24th, for another episode of The Elite. But until then, thanks once again for listening to my piece, and peace out. Have a good one. This is The Elite, and my name is James Sims.